What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Year Pro. Welcome back to a brand new video. Guys, I wish I could come bearing better news, but unfortunately, I wanted to wait to make this video about the playing game from last night until I was able to understand the implications behind Jimmy's injury. I'd actually recorded a video last night, but as I was uploading it, Shams put out a tweet saying Jimmy might have suffered an MCL injury. So I was like, let me wait so I can react to it tomorrow. What the actual details are, because he said he was going to get an MRI. Well, the MRI has been taken, and it has been determined that Jimmy Butler is going to be missing several weeks with an MCL injury. So sad, man. It's just so disappointing, so frustrating, deflating as a Heat fan. You know, you get to this point where you've suffered from injuries throughout the whole season, and you try to get yourself into the playoffs, and probably could have won that game last night if he was fully healthy, if he was playing 100%, because he still continued the game, but you know, he obviously wasn't himself, and it just went bad, and it's gone from bad to worse now, guys. It's gone from bad to worse, and I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, this injury effectively means that our season might be over soon. I don't really see us beating Boston. I'm going to say right now, if we do, it's a miracle, and I'm going to eat my words right now, but it's going to be super tough to beat them without our best player. You know, we all know what playoff Jimmy's capable of. First of all, I hope he gets better. I hope he's okay. You know, I hope he takes his time. We don't want him to aggravate the injury. We need him for next year as well. So I hope he does what he has to get better. Obviously we lost the game last night. It was a tough game to lose. Because I thought we played really good defense on Embiid and Maxey. We held them to very, very poor performances for the both of them. And unfortunately, Jimmy went down, and then Tyler and Bam didn't step up. So literally nobody for the Heat really played that well, apart from Jaquez and Caleb at times. But yeah, apart from that, nobody showed up. I thought Caleb was terrible. Nico wasn't really in the game. We desperately missed Terry Rozier. He did not play because of his injury, so now we don't know the status on him. Duncan Robinson was cleared to play but did not get in the game, so his injury must be really bad if Spoelstra didn't get in the game, especially with the way Hero was shooting the ball. And then, yeah, you know, we just were not, you know, the guys were not stepping up, and we were really in that game because of our defense, especially the zone really slowed them down. Unfortunately, in the second half, Batum got going. Batum really did get going. He made a lot of open shots, and you have to live with those shots that he's making, because it's like you either have him making shots or you have Maxey and Embiid. And if Batum beats us, then you got to give him his props, because it's like you got to pick one or the other. Either you let Embiid and Maxey beat you and you don't send help, or you send help and let Batum beat you. And we sent help, but I just would have liked us to send help off of a different player after Batum got hot. You know, maybe double off of Oubre or Harris or Lowry. But shout out to Batum. I thought he was the best player on the floor yesterday. And the Sixers are off to play the Knicks, and we are off to play Chicago, who just won their game last night. Chicago is down Alex Caruso. He's probably not going to be playing in that game against the Heat tomorrow. This will kind of serve as a preview for that game as well, because the game is tomorrow, so it's very, very short notice. I'm not making an official preview with the full details tomorrow and upload it tomorrow morning, but today it's really to talk about Jimmy's injury, to kind of just talk about the implications, what it means. I think, you know, there has to be a very big, you know, I guess not reflection, but this has to be a very big reality check for the Heat. You know, without Jimmy Butler, this team is essentially cooked in a lot of ways. And in the offseason, when we get there have to be a lot of conversations around revamping this team. You know, a lot of times in sports, you can have a redundancy of players returning every single season, and this core has been intact for 5 years with Jimmy, Tyler, Duncan, Bam. These 4 players have remained on the roster since 2019. It's now 2024, and they've had 2 finals appearances to show for it. They've had a few Eastern Conference Finals appearances. but they've never gotten over the hump. And I think it's time to reassess this roster. We have a pretty good pick. I believe we will either have the 15th or 16th pick, maybe even the 14th pick, depending on if we win or lose the game against Chicago. And don't put it past Chicago to beat us. I mean, I'm not saying it's a lot. I'm not saying it's a lock to win that game at all. Especially without Jimmy, it's going to be tough. I think we will win because I don't think Chicago's that good. But even if we don't win, I'm not going to be shocked. You know, I think it's going to be because we don't have our best player. But we will have a very high pick. We'll have a very high pick as compared to where we've had since, I think, the Bam Adebayo draft. We haven't had a lottery pick. This will be as close to the lottery pick that we would be having as the 15th or 16th pick in the draft. And that's what it is. That is what it is. We're going to have one of those two picks, most likely. I think it's a coin flip between us and somebody else. Maybe, I'm not sure who it is. But, yeah, we're going to have a high-ish pick. We're going to have, you know, we're going to have some talks around the Tyler Hero thing, whether he's safe or not. I think Bam Adebayo is safe. You know, I know he didn't play well last night, but I don't think the Heat are going to be trading their All-NBA center anytime soon. All-Star. He was the only All-Star for this team in the past 2 seasons. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. And he's also been the player who's been the most available. You know, he's played 70+ games this season. So I know he didn't play well last night, and sometimes he doesn't play well, but I think he's safe. I think he's fine. I think Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jovic are here to stay as well. Unless the Heat find them a star that they want to package them in. But the biggest question mark will be around Tyler Hero. The biggest question mark will be around Caleb Martin because he's a free agent. And we'll have to see. But, you know, I think without Jimmy Butler, he's essentially set to miss most of the Boston series because several weeks will put us into early May. I'm pretty sure the Boston series, if a potential first-round series with Boston were to happen, it would end on the 4th of May. And currently it is already I believe it's already the 18th of April. So if you're talking about 4th of May, you're talking about 2 to 3 weeks from now. And I'm not sure if he'd be back by then. I think he'd probably miss the whole first round. So I think it's safe to say that without Jimmy Butler, we're probably going to lose that series. It's you know, I would love to be optimistic here, but, you know, I have to be a realist here. You know, I don't want to give you guys false hope. It's going to be really tough to win that series. I'm not saying it can't happen. I think, you know, Terry Rozier coming back maybe could give us some life, but, you know, without your best player, the franchise guy, the guy who makes this team go every single night, the guy who, when he's on the floor, he just instills this belief in everybody. Like, everybody just thinks that they can win when he's on the floor, and when he's off the floor, it's tough. I will say this team has been accustomed to playing without him for this season. But again, it's been the same story. It's been the injuries from game 1 until now. It's been the injuries. That's been the story of the Miami Heat. And it's been the story of the Miami Heat for a couple years now, which is why I'm saying I think they have to dial back on this culture stuff. They got to make sure. I know Jimmy's injury was a freak accident. You know, I think he got kicked in the knee by Oubre. You can't really do much about that. It's just, you know, and I don't think Oubre was trying to be dirty there. I just think it was a basketball play, and or no, it wasn't a basketball play. I just think he was just. I think he accidentally caught him on the knee, and it's like the injury that Tyler, you know, suffered, where it was like a freak accident. You couldn't do much about it. But I still think that throughout the course of the season, there's been way too many injuries, way too many games missed. Injuries, no continuity, no time to find the right consistent starting lineup. I think we've had the second or third most lineups played in the NBA this season. It's just a mess. And it starts at the top. The players that we have, a lot of these guys have had a history of missing time. Tyler Hero, to me, is injury prone. To me, Jimmy Butler's not injury prone, but to me, he misses a lot more time than he should. And I know part of it was he was dealing with something outside of, you know, in his family. He had a death. That is fine. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, you know, when he's taking games off and stuff like that. We can't afford that. We can't afford that. Caleb Martin missed time. Last year, Bam missed time. Kyle Lowry was missing time. Terry Rozier missed time. We got guys missing time for no reason. And I think it's no coincidence. I heard Andre Iguodala say this on JJ Redick's podcast last year. The Heat culture thing is amazing because, you know, they work really hard and they play really hard. But it can burn you out, man. It can burn you out because you're just putting so much effort into practicing that in the actual game, you might be fatigued. And that's why you might be missing open shots. I'm just saying, I'm not saying they have to, change the philosophy of the franchise. I'm just saying they have to dial back a little bit and reassess everything. Because 2 years in a row, this team has been the most injured team in the NBA. Apart from Memphis this season. But Memphis, is a different story. Memphis had a bunch of guys missing, from even before the season started. So, yeah, that's just what it is. It's been the injuries from start to end. And I hope that this season is a wake-up call for the front office to realize that, you're not going to be always able to, it's really cool that they believe that no matter where they finish in the standings, they'll be able to make a run. But stuff like this will happen, and you need to secure your position in the playoffs so you don't have to worry about playing games. They should have took the regular season more seriously. They should have put a better roster around Jimmy Butler. We've had the same core for 5 years now. The same core. And you're not going to win a championship bringing back the same core for 5 years in a row unless it's 3 superstars or 2 superstars. We have a superstar, an all-star, and a guy who's trying to get to an all-star level but is not there yet. That is our core right now. And it's been the same thing for a while, and it's gotten monotonous, it's gotten redundant, it's gotten repetitive, and teams are starting to figure this core out. The injuries, the age, Jimmy's already 35. It's just getting stale. It's kind of like when you're drinking milk, right? And the milk tastes so good at the beginning. Like if you're drinking chocolate milk or whatever, you're drinking chocolate milk, it tastes so good. Or strawberry milk, whatever milk y'all want to drink. And then after a certain point, it gets stale. It's like, then it tastes bad. Then you got to throw it out. Like, I'm not saying we got to throw the team out. I'm just saying we got to make some changes. Something big has to be done in the offseason. This is their biggest offseason, I believe, in years. Because I believe after this offseason, Jimmy Butler is a free agent. So, he's not getting any younger. He's not. That's just what it is, man. We're gonna have to have some huge discussions in the offseason, huge conversations. I'm not really sure where this team will go from here. The first step is to beat Chicago, then we'll figure out the rest. I do not want Jimmy to rush back from his injury because I don't want to aggravate anything that's gonna make it worse. So I think he should focus on his recovery, and I think this team should focus on winning the game against Chicago. And after Chicago, we'll worry about Boston if we were to win that game. If we were to lose that game, which I hope we don't, then it's the end of our season, and that's what it is. So I haven't been this hopeless or deflated as a Heat fan in quite a long time. Obviously was not happy with a lot of the performances in the season, but I always was optimistic about the fact that with Jimmy Butler on this team, anything could happen. And unfortunately, he's not on this team right now with his injuries. So without him, it's gonna be really, really tough to just pull something out the fire. Like, it's gonna take a lot of things to go our way. It's gonna take a lot of everyone's gonna have to play perfect. Everyone's gonna have to play perfect. So we'll see what happens, man. I probably will be doing a Chicago Bulls versus Miami Heat play-in preview tomorrow. That'll be coming out tomorrow morning before the game. The game is in the evening, so I'll be getting it out to you guys in the morning. And after that, it's off to Chicago, and then after Chicago, or actually Chicago's coming to Miami. After that, we'll see what happens. But breaking news is that Jimmy Butler's out for potentially the full first round, and we'll see what happens then. But make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts and concerns and questions. I'm sure you guys have a lot of thoughts you guys want to get off your chest. The comment section is a very good place to do that. Go check out my second channel. Go do all of that stuff, man. One thing as Heat fans, no matter what, we'll always stick together. We'll always make sure that we bounce back. I trust this team to do whatever they do, now in the future. So we'll see what happens, man. I'll see y'all later as always. Have a nice day. Peace.